Okay, it's been like live stream. Got it.
I think I finally got it. Thank you, Jesus. Please confirm if my own has changed.
We are live streaming already.
Stop your video. Start your video, Christine.
Yes.
It's showing now.
Thank you, Jesus.
I'm the only one left.
So, Mama H, go and do your own now.
I don't try you. I not be guru like Ona. So let me just leave it like that for now. Don't get distracted.
Okay, it is 6 p.m.
It's 4 p.m.
Oh, 4 p.m. Apologies. It is 4 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
Good evening, everyone. Can we hear me?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening.
Yes,
Welcome.
good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Good evening.
Good evening, we can hear
Just
you,
so
Mom.
that we don't keep everyone waiting, we would proceed swiftly and hope everyone will join us in shortly. Welcome to this amazing webinar we have put together just for you. You know, the webinar is titled Get Back on Track. It is a sensitization and re-education webinar to address critical legal control issues and regulations compliance issues for non-governmental organizations in Nigeria. Before I go further, permit me to introduce myself. My name is Elizabeth Igbamuno, and I would be moderating tonight. This webinar is put together by the governance team of INT. INT class 046. And as we delve into the discussions today, our major aim is to ensure that we equip you and we enlighten each and every one of you with the tools and the knowledge to ensure that your NGOs operate within the right regulatory ambit. You know, before we go further into the main sessions, we would quickly post a link for you. Please indulge us. It is so that we also get a feel of what you know, what your challenges are, and this would inform us in the panel session to know how we can help you answer some of your pressing questions. So I would quickly, okay, awesome. I would quickly post the link in the comment section. Are we together? I will quickly post the link in the comment section. Please do us the amazing privilege of filling this poll. It's a quick answer, yes or no, very straight to the point poll, just to get a feel of what your issues are, what your concerns are, and what kind of questions you want answered in the meetings today. So please go ahead swiftly to the comment section. Okay, please go ahead to the comment section and click the link, answer the questions. Can we hear me better now? Go ahead to the comment section. I'm going to post it again just to ensure that every new person in the meeting can see it. Again, as I mentioned earlier, before some of you came in, the link is just a poll to give us an insight into whatever challenges you may be having and what your knowledge base is as regards the topic that we will be discussing today. It will also help us during the panel session to answer some of your pressing questions. So please indulge us and give us the privilege of our responding to the poll. We will take just 5 minutes quickly. We will take just 5 minutes quickly to enable everyone answer that, and then we will proceed straight to the first session. So once you're done, just put a 1 in the comment section. That will be more than enough for us. The moment you fill the poll, just put a 1 in the comment section. That would be more than enough. Thank you. While we wait for that, I would quickly again reiterate what this webinar is about and what we aim to accomplish. So this is a Get Back on Track webinar. It is a sensitization and re-education webinar on the critical legal controls and regulatory compliance issues that non-governmental organizations in Nigeria may be facing. So we aim to equip you and enlighten you on the tools and the knowledge that ensure that your NGO is operating within the right regulatory ambits. So it is important for us that you know what is required of you as one who runs an NGO or one who desires to run an NGO. It is also important for us that if you are not conversant with what these regulatory laws are, you can begin to get back on track. That is why this is called Get Back on Track. You can begin to get back on track. You can begin to make corrections where you need to. Okay, I'm beginning to see some responses. Please, if you have filled the poll, do us the favor of typing 1 in the comment section. Do us the favor of typing 1 in the comment section so that we can proceed. For those I'm going to paste it again. In exactly 1 minute, we would proceed to the main session. But even as you go on and listen. Do us the favor of also filling the poll. Okay, and that is that. We will proceed to the main sessions. Thank you. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor tonight to introduce our keynote speaker for this event. He has a wealth of knowledge that he will be sharing with us today, and he has made significant contributions in the areas that he will be speaking on. So his name is Mr. Salisu Abubakar. He is the Principal Manager, Compliance Department of the CAC, with over 20 years of post-call experience and corporate governance. So I enjoin everyone tonight to pay good attention. I enjoin you to take notes where you need to. He will be sharing some key issues, and I believe that we know that there is no better person to guide us than somebody who is in-house in the regulatory team and is a part of the system. So without further ado, we would welcome Mr. Salisu Abubakar.
Good evening, all. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. Thank you, INT, and thank you for the brief introduction, as well as inviting us to this address, keynote, to give a keynote address on level of compliance of civil society organizations with the new CAMA as amended in 2020. I will like to dwell on the topic itself, because if we look at the whole topic as it is, the time assigned to us will not cover basically what is all about. I believe I will just take a brief look at it, and then if there is any question, then I will address them as they come. Yeah. First of all, I would like to look at Part A of CAMA, of the Companies and Allied Matters Act as amended. You know, the president has given assent in 2020, and it came into being and it started. So it came with new innovations, of which part of the questionnaire that I've seen, those things were raised in the questionnaire given. But in my paper now, I'll look at the NGO as a body under Part A and Part F of CAMA as amended. So NGOs are basically formed in their simplest form. Are you with me? Hello?
Yes, we are, sir. We can hear you perfectly.
Yeah. NGO may be established in their simplest form. That is a mere association of persons, as in the case with community-based organizations. These are CBOs, age groups, professional interest groups, clubs and societies, etc. These are NGOs. By incorporation under the Companies and Allied Matters Act, they are incorporated trustees, which is under Part F, and company limited by guarantee, which is under Section 26 of the CAMA as amended. The regulatory framework of each varies traditionally. The regulatory framework of registered companies entail more than formalities than in the case of incorporated trustees. So there is a slight difference between the hold on, let me on my video, please. I believe that video is not on. Is it okay now? Seems the network. Hello?
Yes, sir, but we cannot, your video is on, but for some reason, we cannot see you.
I'm
But your
wondering.
video is on. I'm guessing it might be a technical glitch.
I believe it is. I tried. I'm just seeing blank. That is it. So I hope you hear me as we go on. I believe maybe the video might come on.
Yes, we can hear you.
So when we look at companies limited by guarantee, it has a registration requirement. It is also registered as an NGO. The Memorandum of Association and Articles of Memorandum of Company Limited by Guarantee shall state two things based on the 2020 Act. That the income and property of the company shall be applied solely towards the promotion of its objects, and that no portion thereof shall be paid or transferred directly or indirectly to the members of the company. That is section 26 of the CAMA. And each member undertakes to continue to contribute to the assets of the company, minimum contribution, total of 100,000 in the event of it being wound up. So a statement in the prescribed form containing the list and particulars together with the consent of the persons who are to be first directors of the company. A statutory declaration in the prescribed form by a legal practitioner that those requirements of this act for the registration of a company have been complied with. Any other document required by the commission to satisfy the requirement of any related. So basically, a company limited by guarantee is seen as a civil society, as an NGO. You are not, the law allows civil society to register a company under Part A for the promotion of sole purpose of charity and other aspects of that. Under that section, registration may be declined when the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation does not authorize the registration. One striking difference is that for you to register a company limited by guarantee, you need the consent of the Attorney General of the Federation. And the Memorandum of Articles is, where the Memorandum of Articles is inconsistent with CAMA, the objects are illegal, a registration will be declined. Any of the subscriber to the memorandum is incompetent or disqualified, maybe a minor, certified bankrupt, or there is non-compliance with the requirements of any other law as to the registration and incorporation of a company. The proposed name conflicts or is likely to conflict with an existing trademark or business name registration in Nigeria. It's part of the things that we look at when it comes to registration as such. However, any affected person may give notice to the commission requiring it to apply to the court for direction, and the commission shall, within 21 days of the receipt of such notice, apply to the court for direction. Basically, CAC sumoto doesn't take a decision on that. Everybody has a right, and since the Federal High Court has exclusive jurisdiction, there are certain decisions if CAC does, and you feel aggrieved, you can take it to court, and then there is a direction that will be given to CAC. There are key compliance obligations that is in governance in the registration of the fundamental structure of those key compliance is that of a general meeting, board and management. The specific details of these organs are outlined in the articles. The actions of these organs bind the company, save to the extent of limitation of their actions, are notified in third parties. That's section 89 CAMA. These are key obligations of the board. Yeah. Company must keep register of directors, part of the key compliance. Keep register of directors reflecting the directors present, forename and surname of any forename or surname, his usual residential address, his nationality, his business occupation, if any, particulars of any other directorship held by him, and the date of birth. That's section 318 of the new CAMA. Company to file annual returns in prescribed form, that is within 14 days of any change. If there is any change, you are expected to file within 14 days. That is in the change of the board of directors, and then annual return is also annual. Yeah, and then every company must have a secretary with qualification prescribed under section 295. Changes in the appointment of secretary must be filed with CAC as a return, just like that of directors, that is within 14 days. The company secretary is the custodian of corporate records and chief compliance officers based on CAMA. One striking issue that you hear it on the news these days, the company have been struck off based on notices and been considered dormant in the last 10 years. Companies that have not been rendering returns are deemed inoperational, and when you go to the commission's website, you will see them as inactive. That is part of the requirement of compliance, of which a lot of people don't know. So part of the key compliance is every company shall once in at least every year make and deliver to the commission an annual return in the specified form. The annual return shall be completed, signed by a director and a secretary, and delivered to the commission not later than 42 days after the annual general meeting of each year. So it is expected that every company registered under Part A is duty bound within the first 42 days of the year to render returns to CAC. If not, the company will be deemed inactive. Then a statement containing particulars of total amount of the indebtedness of the company in respect of all mortgages and charges which are required to be registered with the commission under this act. A written copy certified both by a director and the secretary of the company to be a certified true copy of every balance sheet and profit and loss account laid before the company in a general meeting. And then a copy certified in accordance with the paragraph A of the report of auditors on and the report of directors accompanying each such balance sheet. That is under section 422 of CAMA as amended. A certificate for small companies signed both by a director and a secretary of the company that the company has not since the date of the last return, or in the case of the first returns, since the date of the incorporation of the company, issued any invitation to public to subscribe for shares or debentures of the company. That is section 40. These are part of the compliance obligations that is expected of people to file within the year. And part of the key compliance issues in obligation for there's resolution. The companies can communicate through resolution, because the resolution shall be passed within the 3/4 votes members to the one-third of company general meeting within 21 days to be filed with the commission. When you pass a resolution, is a way that the company communicates. As CAMA stipulates the circumstances when a special resolution is necessary. In particular, the provisions of the memorandum or articles of association are alterable by special resolutions. Some special resolutions need to be followed up with supportive actions and delivered to the commission. The company secretary or legal advisor is best able to handle this. For example, under section 51 of CAMA as amended, a resolution altering the company's business or object is done by special resolution and must be confirmed by the court. That is under section 46. There shall be delivered to the commission within 15 days from the date of its making. A certified true copy of the order in the case of refusal to confirm the resolution, and certified true copy of the order in the case of confirmation of the resolution, together with a printed copy of the memorandum. I'm just itemizing and looking at the key compliance issues that are required. A company limited by guarantee, like every company, is required to keep accounting records to be kept at its registered office or other suitable place. Such records shall reflect the true financial position of the NGO and sufficient to show and explain the transactions of the company. Note that this is not a financial report made grant makers or partners. The financial statement shall comprise balance sheets as at the last day of the year, the income and expenditure account for the year in lieu of a profit and loss account for commercial company, notes on the accounts, the auditor's report, the director's report, a 5-year financial summary. Note, if the NGO qualifies as a small company, exemption applies. But basically, limited by guarantee are not considered as small companies. They are basically SBOs. Yes, some of them are like that. According to section one unique thing is, according to section 393, it itemizes what a private company or small company is. A small company is a company with a turnover of not more than 120 million or such amount as may be fixed by the Commission from time to time. This is portioned to the Finance Act. And with the net asset and value of more than 60 million of such amount, or may be fixed by the Commission from time to time, in which none of the members is an alien, government entity, or nominee with or the government participation. Where for a company having a share capital, the directors between themselves hold 51% in equity share capital, or the current threshold of the turnover and net asset are 25 million and 12.5 million respectively. There are certain exemptions for small companies. It is not compulsory to appoint a company secretary. Part of the striking innovations on the new CAMA for small companies is not a requirement. Sole directorship is permissible. Company can, that is for not company limited by guarantee. Other companies can have sole director. The requirement of annual general meeting is not compulsory. Annual return format is relatively simpler. So you don't have to go through filing accounts. You can file a certificate notifying those items that I have mentioned. So basically, this is part A, limited by guarantee, which are registered as NGOs. So looking at time, I'll go through part F now. That is incorporated trustees. Formation. The application and formation of an incorporated trustee. The proposed name of the corporate body, which must contain the word incorporated trustees of. Normally under part F, it is these trustees that will register. These are charity organizations. The aims and objects of the association, which shall be for the advancement of religious, educational, literary, scientific, social development, cultural, and charitable purpose, and must be lawful. This is part of the objects of limited incorporated trustees registered under part F. The names, addresses, and occupation, means of identification, all valid details of the secretary of the association, if any, must be provided. 2 printed copies of constitution of the association, duly signed minutes of meeting, appointing trustees and authorizing the application, and minutes must state person present at the meeting and votes courts. Drawing of the proposed common seal, if there is any. So the new law provides that it's not a necessary requirement that an association should have seal. It's basically optional. That is why I say if any. And then declaration by those making the application that the particular statement made are true. So there are penalties now if you present false document to CAC. It's not, at times it's not just fine. You face prison if information provided to CAC for the purpose of registration are found to be untrue. And then particulars of trustees. This includes their names, addresses, means of identification, phone numbers, and passport photographs of occupation. The application is expected to state the position of each trustee is expected to occupy in the organization, for instance, chairman and secretary. There are main compliance issues of trustees. Qualification, you have to qualify before you are appointed as a trustee. NGOs and civil society organizations are required to appoint only persons qualified by law as trustees. Hence, it is unlawful to appoint an undischarged bankrupt, an infant, a person convicted of a crime involving dishonesty or fraud within the last 5 years preceding the appointment. So people should not this 5 years. The person, and again, person who have been found to be of unsound mind by a court. You don't have, if you are on sound mind, you have to be found as unsound mind by the court and pronounced. If any of such persons mentioned above acts as a trustee, then he shall be liable for a fine, which is a daily penalty, as may be determined by the commission. This is based on regulation in section 826, and which we know is a daily fine if you act as such. And another key compliance issue is statement of compliance. The trustees of organization shall also submit to the commission a biannual statement of affairs of the association. Note that trustees cannot be salaried employees, but there is biannual, which is after six months, which we render. It is provided for in the new act. In the 1990 act, this biannual doesn't apply, but with the innovations in the new act, the biannual returns is normally applied. So trustees in an association cannot earn salary, but may be paid reasonable expenses or fees for services they render. Then there is profit and benefits under section 838. That is the special clause. The income and property of the body or association whose trustees are incorporated under the part of the act shall be applied solely towards the promotion of the objects of the body set forth in the Constitution. And no portion form shall be paid or transferred directly or indirectly by way of dividend, bonus, otherwise by way of profit to any of the members of the association. However, an officer or servant of the body may be paid reasonable remuneration in return for any service actually rendered to the body. So basically, incorporated trustees are charity organizations. All the donations, all the money rendered should not be for the personal use of the trustees. Unless they render services, then they are paid for such services. And then note that a member of council, including trustees, cannot earn salaries, as I said earlier. So council members, including trustees, may be paid out of pocket expenses for their expenses. And then main compliance issues. This is very important. Since I have few minutes left, I believe the main compliance issues for NGOs is basically filing of annual returns and alterations, if there is any, that it should be filed within a reasonable time. NGOs and CSOs are mandated to file annual returns, disclosing the activities of the organization, such as its corporate name, addresses, and such. NGOs and CSOs must also notify the Commission of any changes made in its name, constitution, address, or any other relevant information while filing returns. Failure to file these annual returns within the specified period will attract pecuniary punishments, section 848. Pecuniary punishment, part of it is penalty when you come to pay, is accrued. You have to pay them before then, and then striking off as it is if you don't file. Main compliance issues, constitution and mandatory provisions. The Constitution must spell out the following: the name and title of the organization, aims and objectives, appointment duties of the directors. So it is expected that all NGOs should, at the end of the year, be mindful that it is part of the obligation of every NGO to file annual return with the CAC. And again, also file by annual returns. And if there is any changes made within, whether it's a limited by guarantee or an association, such changes should be notified with the commission. so that all due compliance issues to articulate and raise. So on the questions and answers aspect, I believe if you have any questions, if it was not just CAMA related, not just part F or part A of the act. If you have any questions on that aspect, I'm here and ready to answer. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so very much. We cannot begin to express our gratitude for that very, very detailed session. We hope that you do hang around because we would be taking the questions shortly. If you have questions, please drop them in the comment section. We might not be able to take your questions right now or in between sessions, but we would certainly take all questions during the panel session. We will also be giving opportunity to 3 very lucky persons in this meeting to ask their questions live. You will be allowed to unmute your mic and speak and ask your specific questions. But if you have questions as we progress so that you don't forget them, please leave them in the comment section. Once again, thank you so very much, sir. That was a very detailed session. You know, as they say, the devil is in the details. The details are the things that most likely get people caught up in trouble. So these details are very key. Do take note of them, do pen them down. Thank you so much, sir. Swiftly, we would be proceeding to the next speaker who would be addressing something equally crucial. He would be talking about tax compliance. So I would quickly read out his profile and I'm sure you would be amazed and enthralled to hear from him. His name is Ego, Mr. Ego. He is a transformational leadership coach, a trainer, a speaker, trained by Maxwell Leadership Certified Team. He is also a chartered accountant, a tax administrator, an author, and an advisor. Ego is best known as a change agent because his parlays and training interventions often bring about immediate changes and long-lasting positive results. This is in line with his personal mission statement, which is continuous self-improvement to impact others, creating in them an awareness that life is worth living. Ego has led and participated in several projects on development of social strategic plans, organizational designs, tax administration, process reengineering, business startup, and so many more. Ego is an accountant, an accounting graduate, a chartered accountant, a fellow of the Association of National Accountants of Nigeria. He holds 2 master's degrees, an MBA and an MMP. He's an alumni of Hagai Leadership Institute, Singapore, and a member of several professional bodies. He was a staff of the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service, LIRS, for 13 years, where he headed the LIRS Staff Training School for 8 years and trained over 2,500 staff on professional and soft skill courses. He also worked as the assistant director in the Directorate of Personal Income Tax and Tax Audits, respectively. Furthermore, Ego served as LIRS Service Delivery Director, with LIRS winning several awards for the service delivery improvement from the Office of Transformation, Creativity, and Innovation of Lagos State Government. Presently, Ego is the convener of the Leadership and Business Success Workshop for CEOs, top executives, and business owners, which holds bi-monthly at the Lagos Marriott Hotel. And he is also the co-founder of the ROHI Consulting, a thriving management, financial services, learning and development firm in Lagos State. With all excitement and all anticipation, do welcome Mr. Ego Orienru. I hope I pronounced that correctly. You have the floor, sir. Mr. Igor Rianrodu, unmute. You have the floor. Apologies. I believe he's experiencing some technical issues, but he would. Okay.
I'm back.
Awesome.
All right. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Sorry, the internet took me off before, but I'm back. I'm very happy to be here.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm happy to be with my people because I am an alumnus of INT. So proudly so. So, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, sir. We can hear you perfectly well.
Okay, so because it's showing that the host has asked you to start your video, so I do not know what that means.
We
Oh,
cannot
oh
see
yes,
your
sir.
video.
We cannot see your video, sir.
Okay. Is it better now? So
Yes, it is.
okay. So I will want to share my slide because I have just a few minutes so that we will not waste too much time. Have you given me the right to share my slides? The host, let's see.
Yes, sir. You can go ahead and do that.
Okay, okay. So once again, I want to thank every one of us, my colleagues. I was Oak Seeds class 018, and I'm happy to be here. So I'll quickly share my slides.
Oh, wow. Apologies, everyone. I believe Mr. Ego is back now.
I'm back now. I'm back. I'm just trying to share my slide. Share.
Okay, the slides are coming on.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So thank you very much. You have given me a very serious task. Can you see my slides?
Yes, we can, sir.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Okay, so my 10 minutes starts now. I'm to speak for 10 minutes, what I can actually speak for, like what I'm supposed to teach for like 4 hours. So, so I'll just take a snippet and let's see how it goes. So we're looking at tax compliance for NGOs. And quickly, I want to let you know that tax compliance isn't a burden. It is an opportunity for NGOs to demonstrate their integrity, build trust, and amplify their meaningful work. Tax compliance isn't a burden at all, but it's for you, it's an opportunity for you to demonstrate your integrity, build trust, and amplify your meaningful work. This is a brief agenda that I have. I'll just run through them, give an intro, move to meaning of compliance. Then I'll take us through the guidelines on tax treatment of NGOs, then best practice or best practices for tax compliance, then conclusion. By way of introduction, we appreciate all NGOs because your work touches lives, drives social progress, and inspires hope. However, amidst the noble mission lies a crucial aspect that we often need to address: the issue of tax compliance. Even among our Christian folks, when I talk to even some pastors, you see that they don't know that they are lying so much in terms of why do they not want to pay tax. So I now wonder, is there a special life for tax and special life for other things? Okay, so your dedication to tax compliance is the key to unlocking your organization's full potential. I mean it. Your dedication to tax compliance, not only for your organization, even for yourself, is the key to unlocking your organization's tax compliance. So what are we going to explore? We're going to explore the regulatory landscape at the local state, the state and the federal levels, and provide some insight on how to go about them. So without wasting time, when we talk about compliance, what do we mean? Tax compliance refers to the adherence to tax laws and regulations in a country. It involves accurately reporting, mark that word, accurately reporting income, filing returns, and paying taxes appropriately. Compliance ensures that organizations meet their tax obligations and contribute to the government's revenue. You know, tax is a pool, is the commonwealth of a nation that we use to provide social amenities. It is not something that you need to think about, because once you are a citizen and you are earning income, irrespective of your age, you are to contribute toward that pool that should be used to provide social amenities. Now, the guidelines on tax treatment of NGOs. Nigeria has a three-tiered government structure: the local, the state, and the federal. NGOs are to comply with tax requirements at all these three levels. NGOs are to comply with tax at all these levels. Okay? NGOs operating in Nigeria are advised to take necessary steps to comply with provisions of the guidelines to avoid being liable to penalties prescribed for non-compliance under the law. Even some international donors, they will not even go ahead to begin to work with a notable NGO if they are not complying. Some even sometimes refer to us to give a kind of confirmation that yes, they are tax compliant. So the earlier we do that, the better for us. Okay. Now, the next thing I have done, knowing that this is a very crucial topic, I took time to see how it can be of help, and I realized that this public notice issued by Federal Inland Revenue Service on the 31st of March 2021 is very, very comprehensive. So I took time to make sure it is downloaded. It is a 7-page document. I will forward it to you, my sister. And I want to appeal to everyone, take time to go through it, because like I said, if I'm to talk about tax compliance for NGOs, we should be spending like 2 hours to do that. But I'll just take an highlight of what this guideline talks about, since we're talking about NGOs, guidelines on the tax treatment of non-governmental organizations, NGOs. It started with an introduction. Then we want further to define what an NGO is. That I will not bother myself. Moved on to explain public character. Then it now talked about the tax obligations of NGO. That's part 4. And what did it say? It says that the legal basis for the taxation of NGOs in Nigeria, as well as other obligations and exemptions are specified under the relevant tax regulation. There are several tax regulations that specifies the obligations and their exemptions. Of course, there are quite a good number of exemptions. Okay. And let me even quickly say that their exemptions do not make some people to just assume that as an NGO, they will not pay tax at all. Okay? So part of the obligations are, one, every NGO have to register with Federal Inland Revenue Service. All NGOs, they are expected to register for tax purposes and obtain a tax identification number. It doesn't matter what area you are covering, doesn't matter your volume, doesn't matter whether you are in a state or not. As long as you are registered as an NGO, you are expected to also go and register for tax and get a tax identification number. And then the following documents are required for your registration with FIROS: a copy of registration certificate issued by CAC, then a certified true copy of Memorandum and Articles of Association, and 3, list and profiles of your trustees and board members nominated. Then 4, other relevant documents to be specified at registration point. If there is any, they will let you know. Then the next thing is, even this document went further to specify where to register, because FRS is pretty large. So they listed there where to register in different parts. We have in Lagos State, MTO Lagos Island. We have FCT, MTO Abuja. We have MTO Kano. We have MTO in Enugu, and also in Port Harcourt and Ibadan. Those are areas where you can register. These are regional offices of FIRS. MTO actually means medium tax offices. Then, are there reliefs for NGOs? Yes. Reliefs and obligations under the Company Income Tax Act. The following are the obligations of NGOs under the Companies Income Tax Act, CAP C21 LFN 2004 as amended. One of them is filing of returns. You have to file your returns. I will not read all the details. Another one again, liabilities to companies income tax. Section 23(1)(c) of CETA exempts the profit of any statutory, charitable, ecclesiastical, educational, or other similar association from company income tax, provided, that provided is a capital letter. Oh, sorry, it is in bold. Provided that such profits are not derived from any trade or business carried on by such organization or association. So you're an NGO, and suddenly you now begin to do keke marua, and you are making profit from that transport business. You are already trading. You are an NGO, and you now have a shop where you sell provisions, a big supermarket. You are already trading. So you are exempted from paying tax on your income as long as it is not for trading. And there are other examples. Okay, let me give, there are some examples. Examples of income covered under the exemption for NGOs include subscription fees to members, donations, grants, zakats, offerings, tithes, funds, realized from launchings, etc. However, where an NGO engages in any trade, they are repeating it again, any trade or business, or invest in assets in any institution, the profit or income derived, active or passive, is liable to tax appropriately. Let's move on. The income tax relief under company income tax for donation to NGOs. In addition to the income tax exemption granted to NGOs under CETA, Section 25 of CETA provides tax relief to any company making donations to any organization listed below. So there are 3 major areas donations are exempted. Number 1, donation is made out of its profit for the year of assessment to total donation not exceeding 10% of total profit. That is talking about company generally. Then total donation, okay, then such donations is not capital nature except where the donations are made to investors. The details let me spell the details, but this is where It is this is where it affects NGO. An NGO required to be listed under Schedule 5 of CETA may apply to the Minister of Finance for enlistment through the Federal Inland Revenue Service. The procedure and requirements for enlistment are contained, blah, blah, blah. I will advise you need to get a legal advisor to help you do all of this and know how to register and also get the exemptions. Then section 4.3 in this public notice talked about personal income tax. Section 19, subsection 1 and paragraph 13 of the 13th schedule of the Personal Income Tax Act exempts profits of any organization engaged, just like in CETA, engaged in ecclesiastical, charitable, benevolent, or educational activities of a public character for income tax, provided such profits are not derived from a trade or business carried on by the organization. However, the income of individual promoters and employees of the NGO are not exempted from tax. So board members of the trustees or members of the board individually, income they make is taxable. Employees that are working for the NGO who are paid salaries every month, they pay tax on the income that they have paid, and they pay payee, that is pay as you earn. Okay? Then there are also capital gains tax. In line with section 26 of the capital gains tax, gains from the disposal of chargeable assets of NGO is exempted from tax. So that one is also exempted from tax. Then what about value added tax, VAT? VAT on goods purchased by NGO for use in humanitarian donor funded projects is at 0 rate. Okay? And on and on. Then other statutory obligations, one of them is at local levels. So at local levels, NGOs are subjected to rates and levies as applicable.
Wow.
Rates and levies. So that is, so rates and levies, what I mean by rates, for example, tenement rates and some other rates, but it is also important, like in Lagos, I tell people, it is good you clarify with the local authority or Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Don't let area boys just come and begin to give you any list. Go clarify with them and find out the rates that you are supposed to pay. And then secondly, in Lagos State, I don't know for that, I've been in Lagos State for 32 years and I work for Lagos State government. In Lagos State, they are designated accounts. So nobody comes to bamboozle you to tell you, you must pay to this account. So go and find out. I'll give an example because I'm going to close now. I'll give an example where a sister running a school was harassed by somebody, come and pay tax, come and pay tax, come and pay 50,000, you have to do this. So the person now quickly called me and said, bros, they are harassing me here. I said, give the guy my phone. I asked him, he now told me what he's supposed to pay. And I said, but you know that Lagos State is divided into urban, suburban, and rural. Where this person is not urban. He said yes. So I had the table. I said, so on that rate, where the person fall into is 10,000, and he's telling this woman to pay 50,000, and he's threatening to lock her up. And I told her that, did you threaten this woman? And I asked him, did you threaten this woman that you lock her up? So the guy started shaking, we know that I'm an authority. And I said that, have you given her the designated account number to pay? That was the end. I don't know whether the guy even came back to even give the original designated number. So that is why I keep saying, so we have a lot of area boys. In fact, I always tell people that Jesus Christ, with all his anointing, had 12 disciples and there was a Judas. So for those of us government officers that do not have anointing, you imagine how many Judases might be there. But when you go straight, when you go to the right place, you will get the right result. So I want to stop here, but let me just wrap up. So you will get the whole of this document. I will send it to her now, all right? The best practices I want to give, they are just this. Maintain accurate financial records, including those of your employees, those that have come in, those that have gone out, keep records. Then also keep proper accounting books. Seek professional advice. Seek professional advice. At the end, you'll benefit from it. Then file your tax returns on time and keep abreast of changes of the tax law so that you will not pay fines unnecessarily. Compliance at local, state, and federal levels is necessary to operate legally and to contribute to the country's development. Non-compliance with tax obligations can lead to penalties, to fine, and legal actions. NGOs must take tax compliance seriously to avoid these consequences.
Thank you so much.
Finally, behind
you.
every successful NGO is a commitment to tax compliance, turning financial responsibilities into lasting impact. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. I know that there is a lot to unpack. There is so much to detail out. And this is such a crucial point. We would take more questions and, dive into more details during the Q&A session. Thank you so very much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Without wasting further time, we would immediately proceed to the next session. Remember, if you came in at some midpoint and you did not fill in the pre-webinar survey, just to let us know what your knowledge level is and how we can better help you during the Q&A session, please ensure that you go ahead and you fill that in. It is in the comment section. If you also have questions, please drop your questions. Swiftly, we will move on to the next speaker. This is another powerhouse coming with another crucial topic that you need to hear to efficiently run your NGO. Permit me to quickly read out this amazing profile. I kept looking at it and I kept saying, oh my God, this is amazing. So speaking on corporate governance, we have Dr. Neichi, pardon me if I butcher that, Dr. Neichi Sylvia Ezeako. Dr. Neichi is a lawyer, a chartered secretary and administrator, an authorized corporate governance and board leadership trainer, certified company secretary trainer, advanced anti-corruption and ethics compliance trainer, and ethics first trainer.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Good evening, moderator. Good evening, everyone. Please, I am actually late. They're calling me. I left a program to join this session, and the last speaker unfortunately took both his time and mine, and now they are calling me. So I really don't have time even to do my profile. Thank you for the profile. Please, ladies and gentlemen, bear with me. I think maybe you can put the profile on the chat or something so that others people can read it. I want to quickly say a few things in 2 minutes because my colleagues are calling me. I've been waiting for about 50 minutes now to do this, and I can't keep them waiting any longer. So quickly, what is corporate governance? Corporate governance is a extremely wide sphere, and it applies across board. It applies to companies limited by shares. It applies to companies limited by guarantee. It applies to companies registered under the what we used to call Part C. I mean, I had Mr. Salisu Abubakar's session that was really very good. I think he's actually broken down a lot of things. Well, essentially, what corporate governance does is that it's about best practice. It's about best practice. So all that Mr. Salisu said, which is like the law, is the starting point, is the foundation. And then you build upon that to get into corporate governance. You build upon it in the sense that you do what is more than just compliance. Corporate governance goes beyond compliance. It goes to the place where you are looking at doing what is right because it is right. So it speaks to things like ethical leadership, ethical standards, integrity, transparency, accountability. In fact, we have the acronym for which, for the pillars of corporate governance is RAFT. So that speaks to responsibility, accountability, fairness, and transparency. And then for the principles is wrapped here, which then adds independence, ethical conduct, and reputation and reputational risk. So wrapped here. So corporate governance is wide. In terms of an NGO, in fact, the very nature of an NGO is that NGO should actually be doing corporate governance. The reason is not far-fetched. If an NGO is set up, is the people who set up an NGO, they have various things, contributions, values they want to add to society, which is why they set up an NGO. In the same way, corporate governance is not just about ticking the box or checking the box. It's about doing what is right, standing above board, being ethical in the way you do. So there's actually a linkage, if you like, in my mind, to my mind's eye, there is a very strong linkage between corporate governance and an NGO in terms of the value system. So it speaks to values. I often tell directors when I train them that corporate governance, there are two sides to the coin called corporate governance. The two sides, there is the structure that speaks to things like the law, the foundation, the policies, the framework, the things you comply with. And there's also the culture, which speaks to your commitment as an organization, your commitment as an individual, your commitment to doing what is right. So for governance, it's not limited to your company. It's not limited to huge corporations. Neither is it even limited to NGOs, huge corporations and NGOs. It's something that happens even in your home, in your church, in your relationship with people. Are you ethical? Do you do what is right? Do you speak the truth? Are you honest? Do you uphold high standards? You can't give what you don't have. So if you don't have personal governance, you can't also bring governance into your organization, notwithstanding the type of organization that organization is. So honestly, there is so much to say about corporate governance. Unfortunately, we don't really have as much time to discuss those things. Are there setbacks from non-compliance? Absolutely. There are consequences for non-compliance with corporate governance. Some of the people who went to jail in recent times in Nigeria, like in the banking sector, they were actually convicted, not for doing what is not lawful per se, but for not following the processes they should have followed, for not following the principles they should have followed, for doing things that were contrary. So there were infractions in their organizations based on the policies, okay? Beyond the conviction but the most important one is the reputation. Imagine having built your name, your reputation, or for years as a person who works hard, who does this and the other, and then finally you don't practice good corporate governance. What that would do is that you lose your reputation, you lose and when you lose your reputation, to be honest, you've lost everything. Your name, there's nothing. My father used to say to me, a good name is better than silver and gold. So I can see they're coming to get me. I really have to leave now. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you. I wish we could have started a little earlier, but I hope that you were able to get a few points from what I've said. Bye for now.
Thank you so much, Ma. We appreciate your time. Thank you so very much, Ma. Apologies for the time glitch, but thank you. Okay, that was a very brief session, but also very, very valuable. I'm hoping that we were able to pick one or two things from there on corporate governance. Swiftly, we would move on to the next speaker, who would also be touching on something very important. He would be speaking on anti-money laundering, which is very key, anti-money laundering. His name is Mr. Ademosu Adeyemi Oluwaseun. He is currently the head risk management and compliance, the head of risk management and compliance in ITEC Integrated Services. Adeyemi is an individual who is a strong advocate of principled living, top principles that have been beneficial to him in his career, which has spanned across over a decade and a half, are integrity, dedication, and knowledge. Risk management is a life skill and a discipline that he has developed and continuously improves on. He was the team lead IT and operations risk at Providus Bank and was also the deputy team lead of operations risk management at Zenith Bank. Without further delays, we would like to introduce formally Mr. Ademosun Adeyemi Oluwaseun. You have the floor, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Elizabeth, can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Okay. I'm trying to share my screen, but I don't think I have the privilege to do that. If you can help me with that.
You do now, sir. You do. You do now.
Okay. Still the same thing.
Have you been able to, sir? Awesome.
Yes, please. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. And just confirm if you can hear me so I can proceed.
Perfectly, sir. Perfectly.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for your time and thank you for this opportunity also to share my thoughts to the Institute for National Transformation. I've heard Mrs. Nechi was amazing with the short time she was able to, say a few things about corporate governance. And it's clear that I'm trying to check my time so I don't beat the 10-minute time. Okay, so she's been able to share a few things around corporate governance and how they affect NGOs. From the top of my head, I look at an NGO as a holy person, just to, for lack of a better word, but so corporate governance is actually a very important part of an NGO. So we'll talk about compliance and anti-money laundering. I was trying to check to see how many NGOs we have in Nigeria, but in the world, I think the last statistics was in 2022 or so. In the US alone, they have almost 1.5 million NGOs. Nigeria, the last statistic I could see was 46,000. That is 46,000 NGOs that we have in Nigeria, but that was as far back as 2009. I tried to check for recent numbers, but I couldn't find that. But if I want to project, 2009, we had 46,000. 2023, that's over how many years now? We'll be in the probably 200,000 or even more. So basically, a failure from one of those NGOs has a domino effect on the others. This analogy on my screen is just showing a chain where one person.
Apologies, sir. We are not seeing the right screen. You may need to switch to your slides. We're seeing your Zoom screen.
Oh, okay. 1 second. I thought I was sharing. Okay, let me do that again. Just let me know when you can see my screen. I thought I was sharing. Please confirm if you can see my screen
now. Not yet, sir. You stopped sharing for a minute. You can go ahead and share and just click on your slides so that we can see that instead.
I'm actually sharing my slide. Okay. Can you see my slides now?
You're not sharing yet, sir.
Okay. Probably, I don't know why this is happening, but it's fine. What of now?
Okay, you are sharing now, but you need to click on your slide page. You need to click on the page that has, or the tab that has your slide, so that we can see that.
Okay, that's what I'm actually doing, but let me stop and do that again. 1 second. What of now? How is it now?
You're not sharing now. When you click the share button, sir, I believe it will open your screens, the available pages you have. Click on your slide page, and then click share.
I know that's actually what I'm doing, but
Or you can send your slides, sir, and then we can project that for you.
okay. I think I've used my time observe. I don't know why it's the same thing I'm doing, but it's not.
If you can please send your slide, and then we would project that.
What of now? I don't know why. Let's hope. Okay, let me try and send it on the group and see if you can.
Please do.
Okay.
I think in order to save time, you should just present it, then you can send the slides later.
Yes, I've sent it to Christian.
Okay.
Christian, help me confirm if you have it.
Proceed.
Okay.
Just proceed, and we will put it up once we receive it.
Okay. Okay, so I was saying that we have over 46,000 NGOs in Nigeria, and a failure of one of them can affect a whole lot of NGOs in the country. So a chain is as strong as its weakest link. I'll just try and rush through it. Okay, so money laundering. Money laundering is just a process where criminals attempt to hide or disguise the true origin of funds. Most of these funds probably will have been gotten from criminal activities. And they're just trying, because there are three main processes for money laundering. You have placement. This is the introduction of unlawful proceeds into the financial system. They can use various means to actually try and hide this money. Layering is the second stage in the money laundering cycle, where they try and do numerous complex transactions to conceal the origin of the illegal funds. So an NGO, in the real sense, in the way it's meant to be, is not a bad thing. But if I've done a predicate offense, or I've done something bad, I've made money from it, and I now bring it into an NGO to try and hide or mask the appearance of the legally gotten funds, is where the problem is. Laundry, like is taking your clothes to a dry cleaner to wash or make those clothes look good. So money laundering is just taking dirty money from different things, human trafficking, stealing of government funds, and bringing it into an NGO to try and hide or mask that illegally gotten funds. Then integration. Integration is the last place or the last step in money laundering, where those laundered funds are now brought back into the economy as legitimate funds. You can do that through maybe purchase of real estate, sharing palliatives, or just doing different things to just make people feel that your money is actually clean money. So I don't know whether Christian was able to get the slides, or I can just go on. Okay. Oh, I didn't even look at that. Oh, fantastic. Okay. You can go to the next slide. Thank you. Okay, so terrorism financing, this is another part, because, money laundering, they are like, there's terrorism financing also. And we know what has been happening in Nigeria for a while. And, it is something that some people have, because some people, look, for example, some people feel that it is right to be terrorists. So they are actually working from a moral standpoint. So in their own opinion, it's actually good for them to actually have an NGO to finance terrorism. So there's a table beside it that just shows differences between money laundering and terrorism financing. Money laundering, it can be huge sums of money that can be introduced. Terrorism financing can come in small bits. Some of them don't even need money to do what they want to do. But this is just a small recap. By the time we share this to everyone, you can see what both of them, or the differences between both of them. But trust me, there's a third part. I didn't add that: proliferation financing. So this is where people that want to create weapons of mass destruction they try and conceal their identity and come through various means to do that. But I didn't put that. I just focus mainly on money laundering and terrorism financing. Can go to the next slide, please. Okay. So I don't like. I'm not a prophet of doom, but mainly the major thing that we need to do in trying to ensure we protect ourselves, or we protect, like Mrs. Nechi, Dr. Nechi said, our integrity, is to ensure we know who is giving us funding. That's KYC, know your customer, or in this regard, maybe say know your investor, if I can put it in those terms. You need to be able to know who they are, who are the principals behind that organization. It's very important for NGOs to be able to know, properly document, properly screen. There are various ways to screen. I can go to the next slide so that I can just quickly wrap this up. There are different ways to screen. Identification. The ID cards of these people, you need to be able to do a verification of that ID card to see whether this ID card really exists on the database. Because most people would just be happy at the sight of funding, but they don't really know the principles behind that funding. So you need to be able to verify this identity. There are various tools that you can use now that you can verify the identity of these people. Even the principles behind the business, you need to be able to identify them. There are sanctions lists that are everywhere. Just put the name on the sanctions list to check if these people are not already sanctioned entities by the various bodies that do that flag these sanctioned entities. Because for your reputation's sake, if you are getting funding from someone who is a known terrorist, anonymous donations. I'm seeing a question that I'm just trying to give an answer. Anonymous donations, yes, but there's an amount of anonymous donations that you probably need to ask, who is this person? You're not going to say it to the public, but you need to actually find out. What if a serial ritual killer is giving you money and is calling it anonymous? You don't want money that will cause problems for you in the future. So you need to actually do KYC, properly record. You don't need to make it public, but properly record the information of those that are giving you funding for your what I call it, your path, or what your NGO stands for. So just the who, the where, the what, the why, the when. You need to do all these things. There are tools that can do this so that you have proper records of who and who has funded your organization. Next slide, please. I think I'm almost done. Okay, recently, there's, for lack of time, there's the Money Laundering Prevention and Prohibition Act 2022. Our advice, we all read through it. Even though, because recently, SCUMUL has removed NGOs from designated non-financial institutions, but the onus lies on you to actually still report issues around money laundering that's suspected, or you feel sorry, that is in a meeting. Okay, so you need to be able to report those issues to SCUMO to say when. Sorry, 1 second, please. Sorry, the benefits of working from home. Okay, so you need to be able to report these issues to SCUMO as at when due. There is a penalty, or there are charges to this. I know if you open the Money Laundering Prevention and Prohibition Act, section 18, actually talks about those. There's jail time. There's jail time actually for people. I think a maximum of 15 years. I have to check that to confirm. But please just Google Money Laundering Prevention and Prohibition Act 2022. There's jail term, and there are some financial implications for offenders. So yes, as NGOs, we are liable for funds that we cannot really say the genesis or the origin of those funds. So that's why we need to do proper KYC, know your customer. You can do a due diligence. You can have a threshold to say, for amounts of this, for this amount and above, I need to properly know this person. I need to have meetings with this person. I need to know, why are you giving me this much money? I need to know who they are, what they stand for, so that we don't get into trouble trying to run a good course. I think I've passed my time, but I think I've been able to, push across the necessary information or necessary help as regards money laundering. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so very much. I believe we're learning a whole lot. We've touched on several crucial matters today, from knowing the basic principles, the official laws, to knowing what tax compliance is and how crucial it is to us, to corporate governance, and now anti-money laundering. Your NGO is not a laundromat to allow people funnel dirty money through. That's very key. We see your questions. We see some questions coming in. Again, before we formally move into the question and answer section, please, and please again, do click the pre-webinar survey. Let us know what you think. Let us know what your knowledge gaps were and the things you didn't know prior to the webinar. Please indulge us and fill the forms while we proceed. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for that very enlightening session. We would immediately, to save us time and to manage your time as you honored our invitation, we do not want to keep you here longer than necessary. We would quickly move to the question and answer section. And to handle that area, to pilot that session, we would be inviting a key member of our team, Barrister Christian Okafor. He would come in, and then we would have all the speakers. We would spotlight all the speakers and allow them answer your questions. And we would also, as stated earlier, we would take 3 live questions. So to handle the next session, I welcome Barrister Christian Okafor.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth, and what the wonderful moderation. Good evening, our key speakers and participants. Thank you for honoring our invitation, and I do hope we've learned a lot, because a lot, despite the fact that we are trying to rush for time, but we don't have to sacrifice quality and knowledge at the altar of speed. So please, if you have any question or you have any contribution, and if you wish to ask a question, please kindly indicate by raising your digital hand, and I'll just ask some questions. Then I will not deal with the issue that have been raised in the dialogue box. Okay, Mr. Salisu Abubakar, thank you very much once again for your insightful presentation. And what I did, I've been able to share most of the questions that were in the group your personal message. But before I read those questions, look, going through your presentation, you took us through several the types of companies or registration that is under part F, and you highlighted some of the issues, but there's a general notion out there that says that NGO cannot make profit. And this is a general, we have general statement, and that people tend to believe it more, even instead of going to the law. And there are different types. Please, can you, in 1 minute, just make that, because some people joined us after your presentation, and then we won't have time to go through what you've done earlier. So please, in 1 minute, kindly confirm
good
what are
evening
those
again.
categories of
Yeah, good evening
sir.
again.
You can go ahead. We can see you now.
You're
Yes, you're
breaking up
very
a bit,
good.
but I
Very
can
good.
hear you. I can hear you. Mr. Ego made a valid point here. He mentioned an example of trading. If you go into trading, you are going outside the scope of the reason for registration. As a follow-up to this, your question, NGOs, you have options. That is why I specifically relied on companies limited by guarantee and unincorporated trustees. For a company limited by guarantee, you are allowed to do trading, but that trading, the proceeds does not come to you as a person. The profit is flown back to the objects that you register that NGOs for. But if you register as an incorporated trustee, that is an association, trading is prohibited. Trading is prohibited. The only leeway is that maybe if you have persons living with disability organization, they can, for the purpose of promoting their aims and objectives, they can buy shares at Dangote, for example. And those shares, the proceeds should be for the purpose of their objective, not to enrich them. But for a limited by guarantee, if you register Christian Ego, let's say limited by guarantee, or a foundation, you can do trading, and those proceeds should not be for your personal gain. It should go to the association object. I believe this must have answered your question.
Okay. Thank you very much for the clarification. One other general issue: why is it that non-lawyers still have to pay lawyers despite all the innovation CAC has employed, digitization, simplification of registration of companies and NGOs? I can tell you it's not as easy as it seems on paper. Please, can any participant here now go and register an NGO for him or herself with the current position of the law and the processes?
Yes, the Commission has simplified the process of registration. You can have access to the portal. The only striking difference is that for post-incorporation applications, some of them, like changes or certain things, there are things that you need a legal practitioner to do declaration, but this has been done away with. As a person, as a trustee, you can log into the Commission's portal, do the registration yourself. For a limited liability company, you have to be, but the only limitation is you must be one of the directors. Automatically, if you register as an agent or as a user, you are automatically one of the promoters of the company. You are deemed a member of the company. But for NGOs, CBOs, you can go to CAC portal, register. It requires, it's seamless. You register as a user. You can file your own returns. You don't need the service of an agent. The CAC has always had agents, of which it can be a lawyer, a chartered secretary, or a chartered accountant, who you do services through them. There are certain services that you require, but most of the services, when you go to the Commission's portal, CAC portal, there is a guide, there is a checklist, which if you follow, it will resolve your problem. You don't have to go to an agent to file annual return for your NGO. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. One more general question to you, and please, I was on a platform, and the one lawyer said that by virtue of the decision of the court in Emmanuel Ebeyong and National Assembly and CAC, and the Federal High Court has struck out some sections of the law. So, and they are not required to make such compliance, please. And the lawyer advised them that they should not bother with biannual filing and annual returns, that those sections has been struck at being in violation of their fundamental human rights. Please, what is the position now? I understand the case is on appeal. So what does the commission do? And what should our participants do right now?
Well, I believe you as a lawyer, you have answered the questions. We hardly make comments on matters that are before the court. But part of the ruling in that is that we should stay of execution. There is a stay of execution. Once you appeal, once you go on appeal, there is always a stay. And these provisions are not meant to infringe on anybody's right. Where there is a law, there is a remedy. You understand? All these provisions that they are being tested in court. I believe this Justice Ian Eko that made this decision was our staff. He knows our processes. Though the matter is before an appeal, that does not mean the provisions is outlawed, that somebody will just stay away, that the lawyer advised him not to go on with this. We should wait for the decision of the court, and we'll take an informed decision. We are not fighting the people. We are not fighting our customers. All we want is for transparency and clarity of the laws. We are merely service providers. We are company registry. We don't go to litigation needlessly. We try to make people understand, and we are champion of ease of doing business as it is, so to say. When you check all government agencies around, CAC, I believe, will come up as one of the best service providers agencies you can find. You can access our portal anywhere in the world, anytime. You have access to information with the recent launching of beneficial ownership register. All the owners of companies now, they cannot hide. You know who, and this comes at no cost. You can easily visit the Commission's website. There is a beneficial ownership register, BOR@cac.gov.ng. You will know the people that own companies. You will know the people that are running behind NGOs. So normally there is nothing to hide. This is a court decision, and this is before Court of Appeal. Once there is an appeal, it's not automatic stay, but I believe there is a stay in that regard. So let's wait for the decisions of the court, then we'll take an informed decision. Yes. Anything further, please?
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for that. Bright, I saw your hand was up. Yes, just let me now read some of the questions I sent to you directly. I don't know if you got them, the questions I sent to you, but let me just read. So someone is asking, what time during the year do you need, can you file your annual returns?
Well, in my presentation, I said every year within 42 days or after the annual general meeting.
What is the latest time to submit your annual returns yearly?
Well, it depends on the time that you hold your meeting.
Thank you.
But for
the next
NGOs,
question says,
for NGOs, it's expected that you file it by the end of the year, and there is a biannual filing as well in the middle of the year. But it's always done in December of that year, preceding the next year.
Okay, thank you. I will come back to you shortly, just in a minute. Okay. Pastor Ego, please. Someone is asking, I'm not sure he's pinned on the spotlight. Pastor Ego, please, are you there? Someone said as an NGO or individual, where do you draw the line between? Okay, sir. Thank you very much for your presentation. Someone is asking, as an NGO or individual, where do you draw the line between FIRS and LIRS, federal and then state? Because I know they are people get requests and documents from LIRS, even when they are complying with FIRS. I know that issue has been there. So please help clarify.
Thank you. It's a very good question, and it is very clear. Anything that deals with the personal tax of the individuals that are involved in operating the NGO goes to LIRS. Personal, okay? So the person's salary. Are you getting it? The persons need the person needs tax clearance because they are all going for the NGO is sending them to go and represent them in Geneva, and you need tax clearance to make sure that he gets his visa. It is the person that is going. You will need to get that from the state, because anything state is personal income tax. The major thing is that for federal, it is dealing with the entity, that is the operation of the NGO itself. Remember when I was making my presentation, I said it is called not for profit. So they don't make profit, but you must file to give your records there. Then there are some items that are vatable, some items not vatable. The details are there in the VAT, the act that concerns VAT. So everything that concerns the organization, the NGO, they relate with FIRS. But when it comes to the individual, they are, especially their payee, and issues concerning their tax clearance, it comes to the State Internal Revenue Service. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the clarification. Anthony, I believe the explanation is clear. But if you think you have a further question, you can either put it in the chat, or you can raise your hand and we can give you the opportunity. Okay, then the next question is, someone is asking, Mr. Salisu, please, can you explain a little how the collapse of an NGO can affect another? I'm not, if I understand clearly, how the collapse of an NGO can affect another. I don't know whether he's referring to, there's a provision 9, the new CAMA that says you can merge, two NGOs can now merge if they have similar objects. So maybe while you're answering this, you can also mention that so people can know that if they see their friends that are doing the same thing, so they may not have to go and open or go through a difficult process. The law permits them now to merge. Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I think I should make this thing clear. What the law says that NGOs with similar objects can merge, just like arrangement and compromise in a limited liability company. If a company is a charity company, maybe provision for widows, they make provisions, they self-help, the advocates of helping the poor, helping the needy, promotion of charity objects. If there is another organization, widows and orphans, for example, it seems when you look at it, they have the same aims and objectives. If the other one does not have donations, cannot pay its workers for rent, they can come together as a charity organization and merge and then continue with their objects. People should understand that these NGOs are not companies that belong to you, wherein you register them and you make profit and you buy luxurious cars, build houses, buy airplanes for your own self-achievement. No. These NGOs are formed for religious bodies, charity organizations, clubs as such. So, and the law tried to protect, for example, under this section 26, or limited by guarantee, in the event that a limited by guarantee is wound up and it has loan. Each member of that is liable to contributing minimum of 100,000 naira to pay this loan. You understand? It's more or less a liability on you when it collapses. The law is saying minimum. It can be more. But if you have a company limited by guarantee, a charity organization that is running, you can not just fold your arms. The law will come after you to contribute in the event that it was wound up and it has certain liabilities. So collapsing of an NGO comes with consequence. It's not like a company that has not done business and it will apply to commission to be struck off. You understand? It's just like a company that has done, it's a limited liability company. You cannot apply to CAC for you to be struck off. No, it has to be wound up because you have to present statutory declaration of solvency that you cannot be able to pay your debt. Then the process of winding up is done. Unlike company that you mentioned, if you want the company struck off, you have to establish to the commission that it has not done business. So that is that. Basically, the collapse of another NGO does not affect another one. In fact, this is another thing entirely. Any more questions, please?
Okay, thank you very much for that clarification. Let's go to anti-money laundering. I'll come back to you. There are some questions in the chat box, Mr. Salisu, but let me just go to Adeyemi and we'll come back to you, sir. Mr. Adeyemi, thank you very much for your presentation. There's a general view that people think that if you want to launder money, just go and open an NGO because it has a lesser less stringent regulations and guidelines, and you can just seal it up and that you're helping, or you want to send the relief materials to people in war-torn regions. Please, can you in 1 or 2 minutes and how people should be careful not to know how, I know you mentioned this, but if you can just buttress more on it, why they should manage partnerships. Somebody calls them and I have this money, there's something, I heard you have a branch in the United States, send this money to your account in the US. When I get to US, we'll tell you how to maximize it and how to share it. So how best can people take precautions in those kind of issues?
Okay, like I said earlier, most NGOs, the sole reason of an NGO, just trying to reiterate what Dr. Nechi said, there's a lot of reputation that is at stake. So if the reason for opening the NGO in the first place is for fraud, we can't really hold that person. But for someone who has his reputation at stake, what is very fundamental to you is to ensure you know who you are dealing with. Someone asked a question on the group, what of anonymous donation? And I said, anonymous donations can both be detrimental to your reputation and also to the reputation of your organization. So please do KYC verification. Verify the principles even behind the organization that is trying to lend their support to you. Very important. Recently, SCUMU removed NGOs because there was a lot of clamor for SCUMU to remove NGOs from designated non-financial institutions. But you still have the obligation to first of all report to National Population Commission and also to SCUMU as an NGO. So there are still checks on NGOs. Yes, in other parts of the world, I think I saw one study in India, a lot of NGOs were being used for money laundering activities. Then also, if you notice that a PEP is a politically exposed person, is donating to you very frequently, you probably need to check, keep details of all those records, of all those information. I think Pastor Eagle said something around records. Keep records of all your financial transactions so that in the day where you need to, show proof or show evidence of what has come through you, you have those records to show, yes, I can identify who gave me X amount of money because I have details of their ID card, I have details of their company's registration and the likes. But it's very important to keep know your customers, know who is funding and who is bringing money to you. I think I've been able to answer you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Then there's a question on the, Mr. Salisu, please. There's a question somebody's asking about CAC. He said, if I heard correctly, I heard banks has the power to transfer NGO funds to another NGO's account if found dormant. Please, I need clarity on this.
This one is not within the realm of CAC, but as a matter of fact, CAC doesn't even have the power to transfer dormant money to another NGOs. No. You have to go through the courts. You understand? If there is an administrative committee, it is the court that have power to do that. I don't think there is any bank in Nigeria that has the power to just transfer dormant account funds to another dormant. It has to be with the order of the court. Yeah.
Okay, in the new CAMA, the provision was not in the old CAMA. So, one other provision that is provided, and if an account is dormant, no transaction within 1 year, and the bank is now obliged to inform the commission, and that will not amount to breach of their privacy because the law has empowered them. And after the provision is now available, but you have to follow through the process laid down in CAMA. I guess that's what the person is trying to ask.
The process entirely is, it has to do with appointment of interim managers.
Yes.
And this one is subject to guidance of the court. When you appoint interim managers, you have to seek the leave of the court. And in the new law, in CAMA 2020, if you have maybe, now, for example, I'll give you an example. If you have an apostolic church registered as a religious body, and you have one Catholic church registered they are both religious organizations. You understand? If you have such, they can merge. And secondly, if apostolic church now has a dormant account and is not doing, it is with the leave of court that the accounts of that apostolic church will move to Catholic church. They have the same objects. But though they are different sects as it is, but both are churches. I believe it is at the discretion of the court that it will review and then do that. It doesn't come to CAC. No, does it come to anybody as a trustee of that association? If I'm clear.
Thank you very much, sir. Just these questions. Please, a charity organization registered in 2018 but has never filed for annual return. Can such organization start from 2020 to file since its audited account started from 2020 because nothing happened in those years prior to 2020?
Annual returns are statutory filings. For limited liability companies, once you register it, you have 18 months. If you register in 2018, so the whole of 2018, you are free. It's 2019, end of the year, that you start filing. But for NGOs, once you register, after that year of 2018, 2019 June, you have to file it. It's statutory, it's there in CAMA. You have to render
even if nothing happens.
Even if nothing happens, you have to file statement of affairs with it.
Okay.
It's just the filing. You file statement of affairs that so and so we register it in so, and we have not commenced business. We have the whole year. Then you file, and you no penalty will attract. You won't have any penalty. But in the event that you slept over it and you say you registered an NGO in 2018 and you decided in 2024 to come and file the annual return, the law will look at it and then compute the penalty. And for NGOs, the filing fee and the penalty is 15,000 naira per year. If you file as at when due, it's 5,000 naira. Even for limited liability company, if you file as at when due, you pay 5,000 naira. In the event that you failed, you will be paying 10,000 naira as penalty. That is it.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Mr. Pastor Igo, I don't know if you have any, with respect to the preparation of this filing and the documentation, any advice or any word? I know our time is almost up. We have 6 minutes to go.
Okay. Thank you very much. My advice is that we should, just like I said, for best practices, we should not run away from those of us who are regulatory authorities. We are your friends. And please don't just go to anyone because it's carrying identity card that is working in such places, because there are a lot of quacks. Like I jokingly said, if Jesus Christ with all his anointing has only 12 staff and one of them is a Judas, if we are having thousands of staff and we don't have anointing of Jesus, there are a lot of Judases. So it is important that you go to the office, maybe ask for the head of the unit, or you go to the website first. Start with the website. Take time to study everything in the website. Have an understanding of what is required, what is not required, and just keep complying. When you comply, it becomes cheap. But if you do not comply and you now fall on the wrong side of the law, that's where you now feel that the regulatory agents, they are against you. That's what I would just say.
Just your final words, please. Just your final parting word before you go.
For
Any
me?
general advice? Yes, from you.
No, that's what I've just said. That's what I just said. Be law abiding and comply to whatever regulations that are applied, that are required. Okay. That's just it. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Mr.
Thank you.
Yes. Mr. Salisu Abubakar, just as you answer this question, or you also give us your final word, is how does name search really work? If your name was rejected, what is the proper process of going about it, and how long does it take? And when you answer, just give us a final word, please.
Yeah, Mr. Christian, first of all, for name reservation, you have to understand the kind of business that you are going into. In as much as the Constitution gives us freedom of association, the law provides that you can only associate under a particular name. You understand? So names has a lot to deal with process of registration, not just availability. If I like now, for example, if I should just decide that I will register Concept Investment Limited. Concept is a common word. And we are over 300 million Nigerians. One way or the other, somebody must have registered that. So you can get a name that is common and synonymous with you, synonymous with the object that you want to register. Then you submit, be it, but mostly CAC look at objects when it comes to NGOs, be it limited by guarantee or an incorporated trustee. You have to submit all the documents before a name is given. They will give you a code. That is a consent. You have to submit the name. You have to submit the object. You have to submit the list of trustees, their addresses, email addresses, for what we call ARGIS consent. This applies only to companies limited by guarantee, companies registered under Part F, and some names that are restricted. There are names that are restricted under Section 31 of the Companies and Allied Matters Act. When you submit such names, for all other names, it's just 500 naira to reserve them. But this one, you have to pay 5,000 and upload all this information. Some of these names are even escalated to the Registrar General for his approval directly. Some, if they don't have issues, the approving officer will there and then approve it, and you go on with your registration. But there are some names that are actually restricted, and it goes beyond the approving officer to the chief executive. And it is only in CAC that you notice that there are some applications that they go directly. I believe 75% of our applications, they have to receive the blessings of the Registrar General. And the Registrar General works 24 hours. Anytime you see him, he will deal with applications there and then. If you submit to his task, he has his own task queue. So my final word here is a word of advice on compliance. There is always need for people to be visiting the Commission's website, ask questions on the need, what are we supposed to do. It is very important. And I would like to commend INT for this kind of program. It enlightens people. It saves people a lot of money and a lot of wahala. And Christian, I appreciate the opportunity given to us. And well, you are always welcome, but the notice is very short. So that is why the presentation was little. But you should try as much as possible when next you are coming up. You should give us time so that we can adequately prepare. I look forward to seeing you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I will appreciate, and next time we have to do proper planning and give you sufficient time. Ms. Ademi, please, but before Ms. Ademi, your final word, but before you do, please, our participants, please help us fill the survey, please. It's very important because we need to track the success of this webinar, because the purpose is to educate and to sensitize. At least before you joined, what you didn't know, and now you can ask the same question again to confirm, so we can be able to track. Thank you. Mr. Ademi, your final word, please. It's 6 p.m.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, co-panelists, and for INT. Thank you so much. For me, final words will just be KYC. Know your customer. Very important. Save your reputation, save your name, and save your years of hard work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much, everyone, our panelists. And with this, I will call on our team leader in governance group to give us a closing remark.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for being so patient with us and staying till the end. Thank you for coming. I hope you have learned a lot. If you're wondering who we are Institute for National Transformation, INT. So it's an organization that is aimed to raise transformational leaders. So it does a lot of, courses, a lot of leadership courses, and the one that we are currently on is called the Oak Seed Executive Leadership Course. This is like our project. So if you want to have more information about INT, just go to intinternational.org, intinternational.org. Yeah, that's will give you more info about who we are and what we do. So thank you very much. And please, if you've not done the survey, do that and put your email address there so you can get the resources that the speakers talked about. Okay, it's on there. So there is a place on the survey that asks you to put your email address. So with that, we say thank you and God bless you. Have a nice rest of the evening. Bye-bye. Put the email on the post-webinar survey, because once we end this, we may lose the chat. So please put your email address on there. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody.